friends. Sorry for the bad lighting here. I just wanted to do an update about my stay at the Harlem, New York Hosteling International Hostel, and the location was great. I was here 30. I was in Harlem visiting in like 1980 or kind of rundown area. At least was visiting, and it was probably like 10th or 11th Street. So this is on 103rd and Amsterdam. It's in a very large, grand building, and so we booked a $55 room, and the cost of tax was $30. So that was a bit of a surprise. And I'm sorry, we booked a $55 bunk in a room of like $6 tax. No joke. And the people in the room had talked to the front desk and of course came to look because I was right by the um, air conditioner. I thought the air conditioner was a heater. And then we found that it was set to 98 degrees. And the lady uh, did a request to change rooms. And over the course of, maybe, I don't know, 8 hours I was there, nobody came to look at the air conditioner. And when I checked out, I let the front desk know about this, and the front desk was like, "Oh, you should have told us." I'm like, "We told you." So the thing is about like hostels and something with a lot of trans turnover, the businesses just let things be neglected, and they just will fail to do everything they can to help the customer. Something else was I was, offered a lock to lock my stuff up in the room. And I asked, have there been a lot of thefts? And the person at the desk said, not, I haven't heard of anything recently, unless, other than like somebody had left $300 under their pillow. And the person who was telling me this said, that's kind of a silly thing to do, which I agree. And but then I heard somebody selling the locks because, and they said that's because theft happens. And anyways, I don't really like that because when you're telling your customer to like excuse me, a customer who's going to be sharing a room likely with 5 to 7 other people. When you tell them that your bunkmates are stealing from you, that does not make for a conducive experience at a hostel. So even though the New York hostel makes $4 for every fear mongering lock that they sell, it makes for a more defensive and threatened experience for these tourists who are visiting. And I mean, I've stayed at a few hostels, not a million, but I've stayed enough. And generally, people are like cheerful and friendly. And here, everybody has their game face on, and it's not like it's not hasn't been like a typical hosteling experience. People seem very defensive. I did have a couple nice conversations with people, which is just always such a joy in travel and hostels. But I really think that number one, Hosteling International needs to make that $30 sales tax clear. It's just a nice thing because I had called before we made the reservation, and just to make sure anything confusing would happen. And I asked, are there any kind of common problems people have? And I would think a $30 tax on a room, that would be a bit of a shocker to customers. I don't know. I don't recall that being the norm, but I think, while I had a person on the line, it would have been helpful if he'd, volunteered. And so the room's 55. The next is almost the cost of the room. It's $30. Also, so there's all this chaos at the front desk. There's just loud music, loud machines. Just it's really like I wonder if it's like this engineered confusing. So So you're signing in, and then they're telling you things that you have to do, the location of your room, and you're like, sure, I'm I'm understanding. No, you're not getting it. You're kind of in an MK Ultra um, trauma space. Um, so, anyways, I think what would be nice is when you're making the reservation, they need to actually say, okay, this is what you're going to get. So you kind of have guidelines, what the information that's going to be repeated to you, just so it's not a whole bunch all at once. Um, and so they give you a key card, and the elevators do not have, like, so when you press the button, it doesn't light up to indicate that it's working. When you press the floor button, it doesn't indicate that it's working. It doesn't have the thing on the top of the elevator that tells you it's going from the the letter C floor, which is, I call it the confusing floor, because apparently the letter C is the basement floor, so I'm calling it confusing floor. Then you have the lobby, and then you have the second floor. Like, what is? I mean, it's very mud flood Tartaria thing, because the you would think the lobby was like, like, why not call it the first floor? I don't know. Um, I mean, I guess actually it makes sense. The basement should be called the basement, not C. And also, like, I'm not sure, the front desk told me, but there was like there's a kitchen in the basement, and I think there might even have been breakfast, but nobody told me. Um, so that's a little disappointing. Um, and there's resources here at the hostel that I think are not being used, because the front desk is just taking the easiest path. Just get them in the room and get them out, rather than here's movie night, or here's tourist things to do. I mean, I've been at other hostels that were definitely more engaged, that had like books to read, like tourist books and maps around and stuff like that. And this one is like there's not enough signage. So I mean, there are signs, but there's not enough, I think. uh, and like, like maybe a map, you are here in the lobby, and maybe at the elevators, at the staircases. And I think like a designer was like, oh, just get that stuff out of here. Like, this is kind of a very flashy, curb appeal kind of a space, but for a traveler, I don't think it's as helpful and practical, as a serious traveler would like. And I know some people are more into a glamorous kind of a thing, um, but that's my 2 cents. So they do have a laundromat, and the laundry machines, card, and it's not entirely obvious when the credit card has taken your payment, um, because when I did my first payment, like, the machine did not turn on, even though it said that it accepted my payment. So, anyways, and now I have to contact my bank and just work that out with the hostel. And so so there is a kitchen. There's lockers. So if you've uh, either you're going to arrive before your reservation, or if you're going to be in the area a little bit after your reservation, you can keep like, they'll check you in with your key card, I believe, or let you keep your key card after you've checked out, and then you can rent a locker, um, and then just return your key card. So it's just so that's kind of a nice little thing, just to have that option. Um, and of course, there's Wi-Fi. And I haven't checked out the neighborhood, but it seemed, it seemed, uh, it was still it's Harlem. There was these black guys there's just sitting there, people watching, and people yelling and swearing. Uh, but the streets have been paved, and so would be about gentrification. But I mean, I really don't know. I don't know all. I mean, of course, I don't like racketeering and um, corruption and whatnot, which probably goes with gentrification. But I just got to say, it's nice when the streets are in good repair, and just when things look nice. It's nice when people are out and about, and just in living on their street. And I don't mean necessarily like you know somebody literally sleeping on the sidewalk, but I think it's nice when people are in their neighborhood and, uh, you know, um, like they're experiencing their neighborhood because it seems everybody is just trying as hard as they can to get out of town. And I think cities struggle and suffer when everybody's too busy going to Thailand and Mexico and Canada and France and wherever. Like everybody's just like, oh yeah, I gotta get out. Like I think people. I mean, yes, I think it's good to travel. To explore and stuff. But I think it's good to also have a staycation and enjoy your local spa in your neighborhood or your local movie theater and your local restaurants and your local whatever thing. Join a sports club or a fitness club or something like that. And where that like so where your life is enriched by the weekly things that you're doing for your health and wellness. So, um, so that's that. So I think that I would say that's my summary. And also, it seems like yeah, there's water damage in at least some of the women's bathrooms, because there's one bathroom on the second floor. It smells so strong of mold. It's one of the stalls. And then I was in the basement bathroom on the sea level, and I believe it was a women's bathroom, and it also really had a bad, strong smell of mold. So yeah, and like I'm sure a hostel is not interested in fixing mold, and because people are in transition, they're just like, oh, nobody's going to notice it for a 1 day or a 3 day stay. But it's mold is probably black mold. It's not good even for a one-time exposure. It's like mold is a weapon of war. It's used. Mycotoxins are used in warfare, so you don't really just want to let that be around. Saying, "Oh, it's okay if somebody is exposed to it a couple times." That's not right. But that's what you know very profitable, high turnover places do. What I notice is well off, kind of like pillars of the community or whatever, they hate transient people. Like they hate people who are creative and free spirits and nonconformists. They really don't like that. But these pillars of the community, they exploit those who are transient, whether it's the community that they're supposedly helping or whatever, um, and, or and I just think it's kind of this weird hypocrisy, as demonstrated by this building that has like a lot of mold in the plumbing, the bathrooms. Is like they probably know about it. They don't care. They don't have to care. And it's just that thing about like being too big. I mean, Hustling International, big company. It's a big boon to this neighborhood. They can probably do whatever they want. But I think good business is not having mold. Uh, so But the showers were nice, hot water, soap was in the dispenser, so that was super. They have the air hand dryers, and some rolls of like uh, really low grade, like that brown paper towel kind of stuff, which is nice. Um, and then the kitchens were chaos. Like I couldn't tell what was the free section in the refrigerators. And there was like this very paltry, it was like the worst free box or free food section in any hostel I saw. It was like this empty box of pancake mix and some Parmesan cheese, one ketchup packet, and I left some fruit from Latin America that fruit vendor gave me. Um, but so yeah, um, and what's interesting is everybody is a very well-heeled off person that families and whatnot, and it's just they're slumming it. They have gotten the cheapest accommodation in New York City, and they're like there's just like this like kind of entitled hostile kind of vibe I get, um, and uh, and that's something I notice is like I call it like this provincial mindset when because the only reason why somebody is traveling here is they have so much income, and if it's a family, they have a lot of income. 'Cause whatever, how much is it per person? $5,000 to travel from Europe to here, so they can spend like what 30,000, $50,000 for everything that they're doing. If they're taking an entire family. But what I noticed is like these wealthy people or upper class or whatever, middle upper class, upper middle class, like they resent anybody who's very low income being around. And I'm very low income and I don't care. I'm just like I'm living my life. My time is more precious to me than wasting it at a stupid job that's not going to pay me enough for an overpriced apartment that the only thing it's doing is giving me a bed possibly that I can sleep on overnight. And like so many apartments that I have lived in, there's been all sorts of toxic things being funneled into the room, noises, like a laundry fan going on 75 decibels right on the wall that I have. I mean, so it's like you can even have your housing and it's toxic. Like I've lived in places that had a lot of mold. I lived in places where I was being hotboxed by other tenants that were smoking. Um, so people are like uh, judging me for not doing things conventionally, but um, even when you're trying to work with the system, the like like housing itself is like it's kind of unless you're buying a house, and even then there's like questionable things about it because for instance mold damage, that's a big thing. And somebody who's selling you their house is not going to tell you about water damage, and they may not even be aware of the dangers of water damage or mold or whatever. And they're just trying to get rid of the house at the most expensive price. So anyways, unless you're really well informed and you have a lot of money to back you up, uh, like you're really it seems like you're at a disadvantage. Now, I met somebody who is I was like, so I'm having some challenges and the person was like, "Why can't you fix it?" Um and I was like, "Well, should I ask my friends to help me?" And they were like, "Why can't you, just make whatever happen?" And I don't know. So I'm like, tell me, you guys, like, when you have rented an apartment or a house where there was a lot of mold, where there was a lot of sound, like, sounds of the neighbor's dog barking all the time, or the LED lights from the uh, street lamp so bright your bedroom is illuminated at night. How have you handled when the city, the landlord, the neighbors, when they all ignore you, when they poo poo you, when they blame you? Like, do how have you gotten things to change? No, you probably haven't gotten things to change. You probably started, you blocked out that window, you started wearing noise canceling headphones or started a sound machine, you probably moved, right? So, I mean, so I just wonder, like, because I had this talk with somebody and they were kind of saying, You need to do more," telling me I need to do more to make this world conform to my needs, and I just don't really know how. I mean, do I I mean, I don't even know how to make some I mean, like, to force somebody to behave. And I wonder if it's being more primal because I knew somebody in Alaska, and they were staying with their at the time girlfriend in a hotel, and somebody was being really loud, and they had said, "Hey, hey, please," they asked a couple times. And then my friend who was telling me the story, he said he got a roll of quarters, and um, and he was like he was gonna assault the guy for being so loud, and that stopped the situation. And like I'm not for that kind of situation because I don't know if that other person has a gun or if they're crazy or whatever. I don't want to get in trouble. And it seems like a lot of people who are behaving badly know how to make the system work for them. So when the perpetrators seem to be very good at turning the situation so it seems like they are the victim. So yeah, that whole thing, there's not a lot of justice, and and there's people who know that you are good, you haven't done anything wrong, but they're just going to go along because it's easier to go along. So yeah, so that is the question. But yeah, there's the little seating area outside the hostel, and you could see the little hostel sign right there. And so you're going to take like you'll be coming this way from the subway on 103rd and Broadway. So we're on Amsterdam. And then there's this other seating area over here, and this grand Tartarian mud flood building. I don't know how much you're getting to see, but it's like an incredible building. It's so institutional, man. Oh my gosh. Like just so you walk into the halls and it has that kind of like dishwater, mop water smell of cleaning product. And then and it's just like these kind of institutional floors like that linoleum because I think this used to be like a maybe a homeless shelter or something in the past. So it has this kind of eerie quality, and like the lobby is like painted in black. Like, what is up with that? Because painting your lobby black, like, who paints their lobby black? Is if you're having a concert, like a heavy metal concert or a punk rock concert or some satanic ritual. So why at night? I mean, why during the day or at night is everything so dark in the lobby at the Hostel International here in Harlem in New York? I don't know, but you know. Um, I would say for $85, maybe including the extra charge on my laundry machine. Um, so that was I don't know, maybe so $90, and then I willingly paid $4 for the second wash and $2 for the dryer. So $96, $97. Um, so, for nearly $100, it was easy to get here. You know, um, the room was stifling hot because it was set. The temperature was set to 98 degrees, and and there was some mold. But I had a decent rest. They provide you a towel, and yeah, the bed was comfortable. One last thing though is it doesn't seem like they clean the floors. Like, so the bunk rooms have that kind of institutional carpet, and I mean, maybe their vacuum is just not that great, and it's hard to vacuum in nooks and crannies, but it just seems kind of dirty. The floors did, and when you have a lot of people, things can get dirty in like a few hours. So I'm just saying that, but it's doesn't like the carpeting part. It just seemed kind of gross to me. Um, so I think I will leave it at that. Also, there's lockers in the dorms, so bring your own lock if you do feel the need to do so. The people in my room seemed totally cool. Everybody had their electronics they were charging, and the bunks do have a charge port, so you can um, charge things through the outlet or through the little ports. I didn't even know. I mean, the thing is, like in the our bunk our dorm area because the people even know there, when you're new, you don't know that there's a light there. Because I turned off the light at 11 o'clock, and everybody agreed, but then one other person just entered in after I turned off the light. And anyways, so yeah, I would just if your room is stifling hot, the AC it looks like a heater, so it's about it's at like hip level, and there's ridges on the top, and so there's like one ridge. It was on the right hand side, and it was like it was flush almost with the rest of the machine. So you had to just open up this one section of the lid, so it wasn't obvious that that was the control panel of the air conditioner. And so then when we looked at it, we National is going to adjust. I, good. It was really subway train. Yeah. So I would just, I think I would have a burner, kind of like a. I do not like using my credit card for laundry. Just in this age of people hacking devices and stealing identity, like I don't know. It seems like somebody could do that with the laundry, like when you're just doing your laundry, like it's just really seems a bit uh unnecessary. Like why do companies do this, and why do they have you do a credit card? Like, I think Hostling International would serve its customers better is like, okay, get this throwaway card, so you put money on a card, but why have people do a credit card transaction for every time they're washing or drying? I just feel like that is a bit too much in the blockchain or whatever the phrase is. Like why does Big Brother have to know when you're doing your laundry? Because that's everything, that all your transactions are connected through your credit card. So I don't think that's that great about the hostel, but the laundromat was right there, and they had tables and a laundry sink. So I got to hand wash my jogging harness. Um, and yeah, there was ample laundry washers and dryers. And they do have like a cafe. I didn't even try that out. Um, but I think cafe was a much more pleasant space than the kitchen. The kitchen has like either fluorescent or LED lights. It's just this baleful institutional. It was like absolutely gross environment, just really like clinical, stale kind of space. And I was just like, oh, just checking out. I wanted hot water and stuff for some tea. So anyway, I think that's it. And if you get to travel to this hostel, let me know if I missed anything, or just share your thoughts. And God bless.